Hey nerds, it's Nathan, and this is my bookshelf. And these are all 42 books that I need to read on said bookshelf. Welcome to my very first yearly TBR. Now, unlike other YouTubers that can pump out 6, 8, 14,000 books a month and then try to review them all and give it to you in a massive amount of content for you to just consume, I am heavily dyslexic, and we're not going to do that. I've picked 6 of my top books in no particular order that I really want to read this year that are not any kind of sequel. And in no particular order, because this is the first one I picked up off my bed, is The Plague Charmer. How weird and excellent does that artwork look? The Plague Charmer is set in the turn of the century England. 12 years before our current story, there was a massive plague that swept through England and Europe, and now there are signs of it coming back again. And people are starting to panic, hysteria is starting to kick in, and we follow a mother and wife as our main protagonist as she experiences and reminisces on the previous plague and the current situation of the new plague coming in. But it also follows this idea of a stranger coming and offering her the chance to eliminate the plague. The only thing he asks for is one human life. He can eliminate the plague before it starts to kick off for one human life. And as the plague does, because she has a conscience, her neighbors dob her in, she's locked away, she's isolated, the whole city is going to shit. Maybe one life isn't so much of a big ask once the death toll starts to rise. So it sounds interesting. It's got a supernatural sort of feel to it. It's got a very grimdark moral thing going on. I'm really interested to read this one. So that's going to be one of the top 6 for this year. The next one I've pulled off my bed, and one I am absolutely extremely excited for, is And Break the Pretty Kings. Check out that art. That is an absolutely stunning artwork, and it is an absolutely stunning story. I'm going to read the blurb because I can't explain it any better than how it's written. Marie is heir to her bloodline's magic and the kingdom. But before she can take her crown, a monster even the gods fear is unleashed, and Marie's brother is kidnapped. The only power she has is a violet one, the ability to switch with herself in time. Armed with clues from her future self and a promise not to change the past, she sets out on a mission to save her brother, stop a war thousands of years in the making. Holy shit, this looks so good. The art gives it away that it might be... I'm going to give you another look because that's fucking brilliant. The art has a very Eastern feel to it. I don't know if the story has a very Eastern feel to it, but time travel stuff is excellent. Anyone who's watched my videos before knows I'm a Doctor Who fan. So fantasy, time travels, monsters and gods. As if this is not on your TBR. And if it's not on your TBR, the fuck are you doing? Get this. This sounds amazing. And very, very keen. The next one I've picked up at random is Dune, the classic. If we don't know Dune, Dune is an intergalactic empire sort of story. This was the... This inspired a lot of what we consider modern sci-fi, or even like just sci-fi in general. This was before Star Wars, this was before Star Trek, this was before a lot of stuff. This combines the idea of imperialism, high fantasy, originality. Like, so much stuff has been influenced by Dune. It is the first, it is one of the best. Not that I've read this, but I've seen the movies. I love the movies. I can't wait for the new one coming out. And It's a classic. Like, I have to read it. Anyone who's a fan of sci-fi has already read it. And if you're not a big particular fan of sci-fi, read this. Because all the tropes that you think come from sci-fi started right here. I think the original publishing was in 1967. So every sci-fi trope you can probably think of started here. It influenced it all, and for good fucking reason. Because people that I do know who have read this have told me the writing, the characters, the story, unbelievable. People also tell me it gets a bit weird around book 4, but I have to read the first one to find out. Next up on the list is Little Thieves by Margaret Owen. Yeah, look at that. That's beautiful. Have one more look. Look at that. That's beautiful. Little Thieves by Margaret Owen is a fantasy-esque, almost like a retelling, but original in its own right as well. Essentially, the maid steals the princess's face, and with it her identity. And in stealing her identity, she steals her life, her betrothed, her kingdom, everything. And the princess, who now is the maid, has to fight and toil and climb her way back up. Eventually, the maid is caught and she is punished and killed for her crimes. And the real princess lives happily ever after. Or does she? How about we see the whole story from both sides? That's essentially the blurb. Now it's time to hear the other side of the story. I am really keen. I love fairy tale stories. I love fairy tale style stories and retellings. And you know what? Just for fucking because I can. Catherine Arden, who wrote Bear and the Nightingale, which is a lot of Russian and Slavic folklore. And also on my TBR is The Girl in the Tower, which is the sequel to The Bear and the Nightingale. Fucking beautiful. If you've never read Bear and the Nightingale, or you've never heard of Girl in the Tower, I highly recommend that you get on that. Fairy tale-esque stories are just so exceptionally interesting because it's where a lot of our idea of fantasy came from. So, yeah, I'm very excited for Little Thieves. It's going to be good, I think. I think it's going to be very good. A book that I absolutely thought I would read a lot sooner than later is Leigh Bardugo's Ninth House. Now, I actually gave this to my dad, and he ended up loving it, which I never thought would happen, but he did, which gives me absolute cause to know that I'm going to love it. My dad doesn't read a lot of anything real fantasy, so the fact that he gobbled it up and he gobbled up Hellbent means it's going to be on a really, really good level. I'm just going to read the blurb because I won't do it justice otherwise. Welcome to the Ninth House. Galaxy Alex Stern is the most unlikely member of Yale's freshman class, a dropout and the sole survivor of a horrific unsolved crime. Alex was hoping for a fresh start. But her free ride comes with a catch. She has been tasked with monitorizing Yale's secret societies. Ooh, we love some dark academia. Notorious hunts of the rich and the powerful. Now, there's a dead girl on campus, and Alex is the only person willing to look deeper because the societies are far more sinister and extraordinary than anyone ever imagined. They tamper with forbidden magics, they raise the dead, and sometimes they prey on the living. Yes! Fucking... They call this low fantasy, where they hide magic within real society. And I love that setting. I love the idea of dark academia. Secret societies are always exceptional. Oxford, Yale, Harvard, like all those schools, any school within the high end of America or throughout Europe and Britain, all have these secret societies. They all have these conspiracy theories that the rich and the powerful and the extremely bright and elite all went there, all got some kind of secret voodoo power. And that's in our world. But stories based around these kind of ideas are always so intriguing because it makes you think, what if? What if? And last but not least is the high fantasy epic multi-POV first of the Fire Main series, King of Ashes, by Raymond E. Feist. Feist by Raymond E. Feist. In this world, there is the continent of Garn. I believe that's how it's pronounced or spoken. Bloop. Garn. G-A-R-N. Garn. There is the continent of Garn. 5 kingdoms at peace until 4 betray the one, the lineage of the Fire Main. They wipe out the entire family, and who knows why? Because I haven't read the book. The Fire Mains are wiped out, and from there on in, the 4 kingdoms are out of balance without their 5th counterpart. They're constantly on the brink of war. Now, the 4 kings hear word that maybe one of the children of the Fire Main was smuggled out and set off to live. And they can't let this happen. So, they put a bounty on the child's head to basically ensure that he doesn't grow up with revenge in his heart and try to kill them or even retake his throne. We follow, I believe, Declan, who is the apprentice of a master blacksmith who has to run away when soldiers of Sandura, or the Sanduran kingdom, come to conscript him. We follow his point of view, and then we follow 3 young spies / assassins that are in training. I believe it's Hava, Hatu, and unpause. Dante. It was the easiest one of all of them, but I couldn't remember it. Dante is the son of one of the leaders of these quasi-espionage assassins. Hava is the amazing girl boss fighting, parallel paradigm. And then Hatu is also one of these, 3 quasi-assassins, constantly at conflict within himself, between fury and calm. That's what was in the blurb. That means fuck all. But he does have fiery red hair. Could he be the missing child? The missing king? Who knows? But it's Raymond E. Feist. You can look him up. Award after award, series after series of just fucking bangers. And this has been sitting on my shelf for so fucking long that if I don't read it soon, I'm a bad person. That's all I'm going to say about it. But I'm looking forward to that. I do like a big, high, epic fantasy. Who doesn't? Who doesn't love multi-POV and multiple kingdoms at war with each other? If you don't, that's cool. You're wrong, but that's still cool. And that's it, guys. That's my 6 non-sequels that I really want to get to this year for my TBR. If you have any suggestions, or if you see anything on my shelf, I'll stand back. Get out of the way, skinny thoughts. If you see anything and you think, Nathan, why haven't you read that? Or, I have so many better suggestions for you, by all means, please leave a comment down below. Show me all your suggestions. I cannot wait to read them all. Yeah. Till next time. Bye, guys.